With a WWE legend spotted with an AEW star and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report.
Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on and don't forget to like the video.
Going over the merchandise available to fans at the AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door event, Air Gold wrote on X, according to fans at Forbidden Door, AEW's merch stand was not good. Limited selection, high prices, missing merch of the actual wrestlers on the card, shocking that there's no MJF, Swerve, Ospreay shirts. It's the 5th year, these problems aren't new and need to be fixed. A video was also provided, here's the clip.
AEW, for the second time in a row, y'all have the worst merch selection I have ever seen in my life. Straight AEW branded shirts, bro. The only wrestler shirt up here that's not promotion is LIJ, bro. And all these shirts are $50. Every single shirt is $50, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Easily the worst merch selection I've ever seen. The tag belt is bro, the tag belt's $1,000, bro. What? This is insane, bro. MJF just came back. No MJF shirts. No real Swerve or Ospreay shirts besides the promotional shirt, bro. No BCC shirts. No real New Japan wrestler shirts besides LIJ. Even the LIJ flag is $45, bro. No MJF merch is easily the worst. Like, that's insane, bro. The hoodie's $75. Bro, AEW, y'all are cooked. Forbidden Door, one of the biggest pay-per-views for y'all of the year, bro. And this is y'all merch selection, bro. Nah, they are going out. Nah, this is sick. As important as the Elite are to AEW TV right now, no Elite merch, bro. No Kenny merch. I know niggas don't fuck with Jericho, but not even no Jericho merch. Bro, this shit fried, bro.
With WWE and TNA Wrestling partnering up and lending talent for certain shows, TNA World Champion Moose had this to say about potentially appearing on WWE programming, telling Gabby AF, "That's not a secret about the crossover like you mentioned. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for TNA. It's a big deal for the guys who have been lucky enough to make that crossover and do stuff with them. I don't know much about it. I try not to look into those things and get my hopes up or think much about it. Just whenever it happens, if it happens, I'll be excited to do it, whatever they have, if they have something. Obviously, I'm happy with doing stuff with WWE, the biggest wrestling company in the world, bar none. And I'm happy for my friends with Jordan and Joe, who have gotten a chance to do stuff with them. They did great. Look at Joe, overnight star after appearance, and Frankie Kazarian, he's a good friend of mine. So I try not to think about it. I try not to put my hopes up. I just do what I do until hopefully I get a call saying I'm gonna do something. No matter what it is, I'll be happy and give 110% my best effort to whatever that is." On Raw this week, the Wyatt Sicks made their presence felt with group member Nikki Cross handing a box to Michael Cole. Fan footage shows a different perspective of this interaction. The current betting odds for WWE's Money in the Bank Premium Live event have been provided by Bet Online. For the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, Drew McIntyre is the favorite at -250. The betting underdogs are Andrade at +350, LA Knight at +600, Carmelo Hayes at +6,000, Chad Gable at +9,000, and Jey Uso at +1,100. For the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, Tiffany Stratton is the favorite to win at -200. The underdogs are Zoe Stark at plus 160, Lyra Valkyria at plus 800, Io Sky at plus 900, Chelsea Green at plus 1200, and Naomi at plus 1400. For the Intercontinental title match, it is a toss-up between both participants as Braun Breaker is at minus 130 and Sami Zayn is at minus 110. For the six-man tag match, the Bloodline are favored at minus 450, with Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens being the underdogs at plus 275. And the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match shows that the champion Damian Priest is the betting favorite at minus 250 and Seth Rollins as the underdog at plus 170. Revealing what he would have done had he not re-signed with WWE recently, Chad Gable said this on Cheap Heat with Peter Rosenberg. It's great for everybody to have options. Everybody will quickly jump to the conclusion that if I were to not re-sign, I'd be going somewhere else. The reality is the master's degree thing is real. I do have the degrees and I have other interests. Motion, graphics, filmmaking, all these things. Production is very interesting to me and a passion of mine. I thought a cool aspect that some people tend to do is that when their contracts come up or when they're done wrestling, they just disappear and ride off into the sunset. It's not some big fanfare. That's the way I always saw myself. Who knows? I don't know what I would have done. I may have tried to go to Hollywood and tried making films or title sequences. I don't know where my head was at. I was kind of open to everything for a while there as I was considering it. I always like the idea of once you're done, just drift off and people say goodbye and that's it. You're done. As Jim Jones made a surprise appearance at the AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door event, he could be seen having trouble getting over the barricade to his seat in the front row.
Oh shit, yo! I got you. I got you. You see my
Mentioning what would go into being a heel champion, WWE title holder Cody Rhodes told the Pivot podcast, "I want to be the champ. I want to be the, there's a beauty if you can commit to being a bad guy." It's a unique space creatively. You've got to be really vulnerable and open, and you've got to be blood hungry in terms of how you are on the microphone. There's this growing sect of fans that wants to see that happen for me at some point, and I understand that. I don't know if they know what they're asking for, though. I don't know if they're really wishing for that. It's scorched earth, yeah, and then you might be like, oh, we don't like that. No, that's rude to that group of people. No, that's the job. Someone's going to come out here and beat me up in a minute, but before they do, I'm going to talk my trash. That's the thing. You have to really go scorched earth. And in 2024, that is hard for anyone to understand that you're not meant to be cool. You're not meant to be the next Rock. You're meant to be a bad guy or a bad girl. During that same interview, Cody Rhodes talked about his experience at WrestleMania 40 and The Rock's involvement for the event. Where we would butt heads is in the idea that you could just come back in the midst of a story that was taking place, and just because you're The Rock, you can step into the starting lineup and take WrestleMania for yourself. A lot of people said, he's The Rock, he can do whatever he wants. I even saw a podcast with two wrestling heads talking, and they said, I'm sure Cody is fine stepping aside for WrestleMania and doing it later in the year. In my mind, I'm thinking that's insane. That's the Super Bowl of what we do to get to Sunday, the last day of WrestleMania, the last match. It's our literal Super Bowl. The idea that somebody thought I would be cool with it, they don't know me. That's nonsense. I worked my whole life for this. Rock should know I wouldn't be cool with it. Maybe that's an understanding that him and I have. He found out I'm not cool with it. That's a good thing. You know who wasn't cool with The Rock? Steve Austin. They made magic together. They rubbed together so much it created diamonds. I do have a lot of respect for him. Touching on John Cena getting closer to retirement from pro wrestling, Jonathan Coachman said this on the Angle podcast. I don't want this to come off as disrespectful, because at some point I'm going to run into Ric Flair again, and he takes this stuff very personally. At the end of the day, I could be a 17-time world champion if they so chose to give it to me. So to me, that record means nothing. The kind of person he is, the way he went about it, the way he trained every single day in the gym. We had a trip overseas. It was 10 shows in 10 days. Ric Flair talked him into drinking alcohol because that world champs have got to do. He literally drank every single night, closed the bar down, paid the bar tab. I asked him on day 9 how much he spent. He said $35,000. I said dollars. He said pounds. It's 2-1, so it was $70,000 he spent on alcohol just because he's the world champion. Now, don't feel sorry for him. He was making 50 to 100 grand every night in the main event. But the last night, Dean Malenko walks up to him, beer in hand, whispers something in his ear. He puts the beer down, heads straight for the elevator, says nothing to nobody, and disappears. Malenko had just told him, tomorrow night, you're going 60 minutes with Shawn Michaels on Monday Night Raw. Out of respect for the effort of what he was doing, I stood at the gorilla position for him to walk back down. He walked towards me. You could smell the alcohol coming out of his pores, but he gave 60 minutes absolute banger. So I really don't care if he gets to 17. If it means something to him, then I do care. If that's a record or number he wants, awesome. Recalling the ring gear that her husband made for her during her time in WWE, Mercedes Mone told Hot 97, I was pissed off. I was mad. It was Money in the Bank. He made me this disgusting, ugly, lupus green, yellow, white, and navy together. I legit cried and screamed, I'm not gonna wrestle good. This makes me look ugly. I hate it. And I made him feel so bad. I'm like, this is not what I said, all this stuff. And honestly, it didn't make me feel confident when I went out there. I remember doing my entrance and I slipped a little bit. I was like so mad. In that same interview, Mercedes was asked how she came up with her current ring name, as she responded. Then later on, when I was going through where I was going to be wrestling, I said, Mercedes, what do you want the most? I said, money. Mercedes, what are you not getting right now the most? I'm like, money. And I said, what changes everything? Money. Yeah, so I said, Mercedes Mone, that's what we're going to be, baby. And that's exactly what I got. So when I tell you to manifest for what you want, go do it when the name change happens. Mercedes Mone also talked about her reasons for departing WWE, telling Hot 97, there's so many reasons, but the biggest thing is just listening to my heart and my soul. Something didn't feel right that day. How we were talked to didn't settle in my heart, and I just instantly knew if I wasn't going to take control of my life right here and now, then I was never going to be happy there. Having someone talk to me the way that they do, or feeling like you just don't belong. Like, okay, I've been doing this for 14 years, and to feel this low, my soul was like, no, get up, go. That's a big decision though. It was the hardest decision. WWE was always my dream when I was 10 years old. So to be with that company for 10 years and to walk out was the hardest decision I've ever made in my whole life. But it's now the greatest decision I've ever made, because where I am today, the TBS champion, the highest paid woman in women's wrestling history. She even addressed accusations of being unsafe in the ring after causing a near career-ending injury to Saraya in WWE. I was so depressed by it. I feel like, when was that, in 2017 or 2018? That definitely set me on a spiral of depression, because wrestling has always been my biggest goal and dream, and I've always wanted to be the greatest at it. So to hear any kind of noise that people might not think you're safe, or it wasn't even the boys in the back, it's just the fans thinking you're not safe. Yeah, it's scary sometimes, but that's the business that we're in. You never know when you're going to get hurt. You never know when you're going to sprain something, break a neck, break a knee. It's just the business. You have to go out there knowing that you're going to put your life on the line. But we do everything we can to protect each other, and unfortunately, that happened. Talking about retiring from pro wrestling down the line, AEW's Billy Gunn said this to Chris Van Vliet. "I wish I knew. I don't feel too bad, but a lot of it is the way that I take care of myself. I mean, yeah, do I wake up and everything until I get moving? Yeah, I just found I have 2 stress fractures in my back, but they don't stop me from doing what I do. It doesn't hinder me. I can still do what I do at a pretty good level. I mean, I'm not going to go out there and go 25 minutes with Will Ospreay. That ain't happening. But do I still have equity in the company? Can I still bring something? Damn right I can, because the minute I step out there, those people go nuts and they start saying my name. So as long as I bring value and it's not, if I go out there and they go, oh God, really? The first time I hear that, I'll quit. But as long as I can do something to help the Acclaimed or help the company or help my kids, yeah, I'll stay around. There's no reason I can't. I have no problem just being the Acclaimed sidekick. I love it because I get to run around, talk to people, act like a goofball, interact when I want to, and work every now and then. When I work, it's nothing crazy. My kids ask me, they go, did you just take a triple powerbomb? They go, what are you thinking? I went, I thought it would help the match. They go, okay, don't ever do that again. I said, okay. Well, I thought in my head it did, but as long as I can do that and I feel good and it's not a struggle, the only thing is a struggle is flying these days because I hate it. Yeah, but I mean, as long as I'm still having fun and doing what I do and I can bring something to help, then I'm in, I'm good. Also, Billy Gunn discussed possibly having a reunion with his former tag team partner in WWE, Chuck Palumbo, in AEW, telling Chris Van Vliet because he just has no desire right now. He has all his other stuff going on. I've asked him to do a couple of things, but he just doesn't. It's not that he won't do it for me, he just doesn't feel like it's him. The boys wanted him to come to my birthday celebration when we did the birthday thing, but I called and asked him, and he just, he's got so much other stuff going on. Explaining what led to the match between Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland for the AEW World title, where Ospreay came up short at Forbidden Door, Ringside News wrote that sources from AEW and individuals close to Ospreay revealed to Fightful Select that Ospreay, a longtime friend and in-ring rival of Swerve, was increasingly frustrated by the narrative suggesting Swerve's title reign was merely a placeholder for Ospreay to reclaim the title at All In. Determined to dispel this notion, Ospreay approached AEW management with a proposal to put over Swerve, aiming to eliminate any placeholder speculation. With significant creative plans on the horizon, Ospreay was untroubled by the decision. His goal was to set a precedent that AEW's success relies on a collaborative effort. After securing the international title, Ospreay emphasized the importance of humility and teamwork, demonstrating that no one should be above losing to the world champion. Contrary to earlier assumptions, Ospreay and Swerve were not scheduled to face each other at All In, as both have different opponents lined up for the event. AEW sources have praised Ospreay for his cooperative spirit and his willingness to help others in the company. With former NWA Women's Champion Camille having been signed to AEW for months now, this was said regarding a debut for the star, as Sean Ross Sapp noted on the Backstage Report podcast on Fightful Select. There has been some progress on a possible Camille debut. When I say progress, I mean some materials prepared, some graphics, and the like. Revealing how Shane McMahon was seen with an AEW champion, Ringside News noted that PW Insider reports that Mercedes Mone was seen with Shane McMahon at LaGuardia Airport in New York City yesterday morning. They were seen speaking as they headed to their respective flights. A source confirmed that they did have a conversation about AEW. Rumors have circulated about Shane McMahon's interest in AEW, and AEW President Tony Khan has noted his openness to speaking with McMahon. Despite the rumors, McMahon, who lives in the NYC area, was not seen backstage at the AEW Forbidden Door pay-per-view the other night. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.